Alright guys, kinda really pissed. I wake up at roughly about 12:30 a.m. and it is October 21st, 2019. And it's 1:19 a.m. right now. And I did a 35-minute video like I've been told to do, not only just about stalking, logging, and logging dreams. I did a 35-minute video of part of the dream, the associations, where I seen the associations, the names Janara Torres, Thomas Stuckman, the brutality, the psychological assaults, and everything else coming from them, and me talking about mental health, explaining how psychological punching and psychological assaults happen, and that's kind of the form that they've been utilizing. But it's not just them. Carl Newman, Ella Purdue, the Negroes off of Gift Street and Town Street, influential organized situations like their gangs one minute, and on top iterating, they're also law enforcement doing whatever the frick they want to. And that was a part of the video. In my dream, somebody utilizing hypnotic suggestions to the point it caused an emotional stir, and then me waking up hearing the micro voicing, which I can prove elsewhere. There's been other witnesses to this situation, while these guys, which the system also understood, while these guys are trying to make me look psychologically unstable, even though they have their own systematical emplacement, either impersonating systematical authority or being systematical authority acting corrupt. And they've had contact, and they've put the intimidation of me that they have contacts in all kinds of systems, and they are willing to jeopardize my life physically, freedomly, and everything else, whatever which way they want to. Thomas Stuckman is a major part of intimidation. Germanized supremacy, literally, not white supremacy, German supremacy. There's 5 other Germans also living around me, and I was talking about this in this video. And I want to get into the point right now that when I went to stop the video, I pressed stop and it said cam server error. I was out and about in the city doing videos, and somebody's trying to utilize, look it up, and that's what it is. Hey, weirdo, I'm little micro fucking voices and shit being done. It doesn't happen. I've been tested elsewhere. It doesn't happen when they're not around. Isn't it strange? The identifiable voice, I can tell you who, or at least the extremity of characteristics of who would be doing it. I'm not around. If I travel and I'm away from them and they haven't caught up to me interstate stalking, that it doesn't happen. So isn't that kind of strange? While they're trying to, which was already understood by psychology, of trying to utilize some type of psychological assault to the point, perjurizing and jeopardizing my rights, freedoms, and everything else. Completely assaulting me. There's no civil suit against me, no sanctions, no paperwork, all the rest. I also talked about a neuromodulator and the abuse from that, and even if it was law enforcement utilizing it, Ben talked about the perspective and perception that it'd be kind of criminally being utilized then, and illegal. It'd be a corrupt use of a device or tactic or whatever they're trying to do with it, and it'd be an illegally implanted because there's no paperwork at the hospital for it. Anyhow, pretty much dried up my taste here. Once it's being 1:19 a.m., almost an hour after I wake up from having somebody's death in my sleep. Micro voicings of the Negroes, which is being utilized. Janara Torres's snobbiness, socialism. You better obey by me, you old bitch. Utilizing homosexual supremacy, which has been 100% proven and has been semi-dealt with. Not in Columbus, but has been dealt with outside the state. A little bit in Columbus until Columbus is part of the corrupted problems, but it was dealt with in New York City, and that is being taken aware of homosexual organized crime is the way I'm putting it. Homosexual supremacy and threats, intimidation, no different than a gang member or cartel. And that's one thing that has been involved in my past, and that's been investigated, is cartel abuse, and these guys trying to impersonate that they're utilizing cartel abuse for a criminal tactic figuration, and intentionally doing it. It's already been proven. I went under a 6-week investigation 24/7 where the cops was with me 24/7. Cruisers, undercovers, everything, and they exposed it. They came and talked to me about it. And they found out, hey, you're not the one. They're trying to victimize. Everything that I'm saying is 100% true. They're victimizing, perjurizing, trying to set and sabotage you up. It flipped backwards on them. There is cartel type of techniques. There's all kinds of shit being utilized and still being investigated even after the 6 weeks of investigating me and them lying and trying to sabotage. Oh no, trying to make the excuse, this is why we're doing this to him. impersonation of police officers, just because, not because they wasn't or aren't police per se, that they're not employed by the city is what I was talking about. I was exposing all kinds of information and how things work. Baltimore, Maryland, I do believe it was, homosexual shit happening in 2010, where they was talking about contract. They're associated socially, even though it wasn't physically them being them, just like Carl Newman, Ella Purdue, Gennaro Torres, Thomas Duckman, being interstate stalking, it not being personally them, but a connection or something that they know about while they're taunting and threatening with it and the power of it. But contract killers like it was a white supremacist and this other girl, this fucking white supremacist fucker tried to homosexually like kiss me. Just turned around, we're walking down the street, we're supposed to be going to a corner store or something like that to go grab something to eat, and it was in the back end of the neighborhood. And I knew the dude wasn't too stable because he was up at the damn drug truck trying to get free needles, because they give free needles away out there, and for some type of health cause, diabetic or whatever. There's actually a health van truck that gives out all kinds of different medical shit for free. Anyways, with that being said, he was talking about white supremacists being contract hitters for black supremacy, no different than the Negroes trying to act, if not being involved, off of Gifton Town Street here, Columbus, Ohio, and then somebody relaying that to me in my sleep, even though it's been 10 years ago, and me saying, hey, the person that's relaying that, because it was so, it was kind of connected to the point you'd had to been there, or you would have to know the environment, at least, of not just the people being around, but the feeling of the area, the feeling of what it is. So either you've traveled there, you're from there. It's no different like grandma, grandpa, or your brother, family, or somebody being from out of state, and you getting that feeling of that other place that they've been without even talking about it, that you can just like psyche understand, and them relaying that psyche and making a threat, making a stability of that. Anyhow, getting into homosexual supremacy, organized crime, that just another piece of evidence, just another situation that's happened with the homosexuality shit and them abusing the system. I also talked about, and I'm going to do this real quick and then end this video, and I'm going to post the photo that I took, screenshot right after I ended the video, and the message popped up of a 35-minute detailed video of exactly each and every essence of who's doing the bothering. Psychological was talked about and approved by Twin Valley Mental Health, Dr. Parvu here in Columbus, Ohio, of what psychological punching is. And that's what they've been doing, and trying to, oh, you're whack, you're crazy, and all the rest of the shit. And that's not even just psychological punching, even though that can be included, if not utilizing it for verbal threat to stabilize their assault furthermore. I was told at Twin Valley, and we talked about it, Dr. Parbu and my doctors, about civil suits, civil actions. They have no legal right to do it. There's no paperwork for it. Community sanctioning, and somebody must be in here illegally working because the city doesn't see that I needed to be sanctioned, and on top, they had mandatorily have to have legal paperwork to enact out the techniques of sanctioning, and that's what it sounds like. Talking about they was going to help me go to the police. We talked about it, but they understood the police, there's corruption on the inside, and fear and intimidation for my life from law enforcement perspective, and the things that's already happened, because, hey, you would think your system already operates, and law enforcement would just pick up on it on their own and be able to stop the incidences, and it ain't happened that way. So there is illegal corruption again, which is what I also explained, and I do in multitudes of my videos, of Columbus, Ohio having the finger pointed as being at least one of the ground roots of causing the problems, the corruption, and the crime going on around me. It's not just corruption, it's basically organized like crime, is the way I'll put it. I called the FBI here. They laughed in my face. Organized crime deals with businesses. I tried to talk interstate stalking. They don't know nothing about it. But yet I just pulled up some paperwork, which is on targetofunlawfulacts.com, an FBI hotline or FBI number to call and talk about, and it's specifically on it's on justice.gov as an assistance listing to talk about interstate stalking, even though, that's for women. Could you imagine being belittled on the phone, even though the instance, it was the law was written because of the battery and the assaults on women, but it doesn't just only include, as far as I understand, women. It's for everyone. And them trying to belittle, that's for women. And then also making it out, that type of verbal, constructed, assaultive situation, nasty snobbiness, or I'm in control, I'll tell you how things work, and misadvise. No different than what's been convicted, just like in Colorado Springs and elsewhere, internal affairs included. And how do you go talk or make a complaint when your internal affairs are corrupted? Anyways, I'm going to post this video with the screenshot, and saying, just real quick, just in case anybody else is listening, I have another phone. I've had other phones. I've had a lot of electronics burnout that had evidence on it. Hard drives, security DVRs, them talking Al-Qaeda, trying to throw out all kinds of weird shit, doing whatever they want. Me talking about mental health fraud, writing off bad situations and collecting money from it. No different than law enforcement, understanding joyriding in a police vehicle. I seen it from my own eyes, discussed it with the police that arrested the officers that were rolling around, one misutilizing the cruiser, and they was criminally charged in uniform and taken in with away from their car at the moment right there on spot. And also some other charges filed against them for participating basically with neighborhood violence of orchestrating rumorization and attacks against myself. Hey ugly, them guys down there don't like you, might not want to go back down there type of warnings. And it wasn't in a friendly situation. It wasn't just advise, hey, I see something, I'm saying something. It's I seen something, I'm participating with it and helping out, and then trying to cover it up that I'm just giving you advisory from inside my car while I'm passing by you. That's a whole situation that happened in Tucson, Arizona, 2002, and they gave me a card. No matter what, any officer that seems to be watching you call in, they have a specific reason, and we'll have to have a specific reason of why they are at the position that they are. Especially when you have exact location, and for word wise, I didn't have to have a camera taking your word for it. Exact location, they'll have to explain themselves, no matter who it is. And they was in fear down there of cartel, and we talked about it, cartel, organized crime type of shit, cartel, criminal, organizational controlling. That's why I came up with the word organized crime. I thought, it's legal enough. Nah, I'm being belittled by Columbus, Ohio FBI snottily, just like trying to also insinuate the connection to Janara Torres, Thomas Stuckman, and Carl Newman, Ella Purdue, of you don't fuck with our people, you obey by what we tell you. While I'm having my rights violated, and it's been proven in the past. I know, just by gut feeling, I should be able to utilize that and say, hey, you guys ain't acting right. Nah, you don't tell us what to do. We'll tell you what to do, and if you give us a problem about telling you what to do, we'll utilize max force against you. All of our intellect, all of our intelligence, anything that we got to, we're breaking your little bitch ass down. You better act homo, you better do what we say. No different than what was being, like I said, and I put this in the video, and it must be pissing somebody off that's eavesdropping, scaring the fuck out of them, of associated police work with basically like a cartel, organized criminal situation going on. Tucson, Arizona, it was given to me. We've had a problem, 700% in crime rate raised in the last month, and I was only there a month. That's how we know something is wrong with your situation. It's attached to you, but it's not you doing it, because we've already profiled you. It's these other individuals trying to make it look some of it's you, while they're threatening you, and you're under lifeful threat, and they put a 72-hour or 92-hour house watch on the place that I was staying, day and night, for the most part. I could walk out, open up my door, and there would be a cop parked right there. Cruiser, full-blown site. That's because there was an apartment. They followed me to Tucson, Arizona, and they literally rented an apartment from somebody down the way from somebody I didn't really know. It was connected from some other family member, and the guy that I was traveling with, he knew the individual. And I had some other things occur, so this guy took me in. I didn't even know the guy, but that's how the setup worked, and I'll explain it later, more constructive, because once you have one person involved knowing that person, probably is the toxic person that tried to help set up the situation. They moved into an apartment complex right straight down. If I walked out the front door where I was at, it'd be straight down and you could see everybody, and they was doing threats from down there. And that's why the police, they had brought in SWAT, because there's multitudes of them, and they fucking ran. All this, we stand in grounds, we stand up to your bitch ass, and this has been going on for more than 20 fucking years. It's the same people. These people have backgrounds of law enforcement. They're intentionally getting certified in any type of legal authoritative capacity position just to be able to take advantage of somebody else. Ella Purdue has a claim to be an ex-mental health working in the mental health facility back in the 90s. Janara Torres and Thomas Stuckman, which I've been illy advised that they are semi-undercover. They're not like hardcore undercover. They're like sheriff's department assistants trying to misutilize the system and get more value, and possibly literally collecting a bigger check on a situation that isn't as big, while orchestrating an affiliation just like this other shit that's came out with like cartel organization and organized crime, while utilizing homosexual supremacies and everything else that they can iterate with to have their fun joy of being iterated with sheriff's department. Carl Newman, same thing, family members, whatnot, dope dealing, drug use, and right in your face, what you gonna do about it? How would you feel if somebody utilizing law enforcement and connections to it, also utilizing drugs and having their weird ass time getting off on it? Guarantee it'd be profiled at the minimum of that's what they're trying to enforce is reality, if not being the true situation to begin with. Anyways, Carl Newman doing most of the physical orchestrated threat. I'm a king, I'm a ruler, trying to orchestrate whatever you think I'll become. Anything you blame me with, I'll amplify 10 times over. He worked with the church that he's preparing meals, and I watched him. I probably have video from way back in the day. We're talking 8 years ago and a little bit after. He may have quit, and one of the vans parked on his parking lot is the same type of van that is at this church. They have multitudes of vans. This major church downtown, right around the courthouse of Columbus, Ohio. It's on the east, it's eastwards from the courthouse, but almost parallel from the courthouse. There's a church there, big cathedral type of church. Anyways, I got sick, deadly sick, after declining them taking control of some personal affairs that the system had me as, I won't say probation, but them dealing with some of my personal affairs as a signee, and which was all mixed up, but anyhow, and me understanding that was the worstest choice I ever made, to allow somebody else to take care of some personal affairs, and then to have this gentleman already attacking me prior, trying to find out and get his hands on anything and everything that he can, interstate stalking his group and his crew, to give them full-blown controlment of something in my life that has a fair value to it, and them misutilize it. Anyhow, that's not the point of the video, but I took and I changed those affairs. I transferred to somebody else, and these people got rocked ass pissed. Well, guess what? The last day I went up there to collect some money, because they had a check for me up there too, partial type of situation. It was real snobby, like a Janara Torres, Thomas Stuckman, Ella Purdue association on top. Ew, our people. But anyways, with that being said, I got sick for 2 weeks in October. And there's something to do with October, because there's been a lot of assaults that's happened in October with myself. Sabotage and shit like that. Anyhow, I stayed in bed. I grew a cyst. It was a bacterial infection that caused, and I do believe it caused a cyst, and then the cyst became infected. But anyways, Carl Newman running his mouth, yeah, what homie, in the guise of one law enforcement 1 minute, being trained in techniques of literally sciences. So them utilizing chemical science to threaten maybe try to make it out there, threatening a suspect. You don't do that shit for 10 years over. Yo, hey, what's up, dude? That's the way he talks, all fucking weird 1 minute, and then the next, like I said, with Twin Valley understanding my situation, it's illegal for them to do, to change their values the way that they are, where I show up and completely a whole social utter change verbalization, communication, body postures, and everything else. But you watch this asshole, he owns a business. You watch this dude change his, he'll go talk and per se he's in front of people don't know that you're around or that I'm around. Completely, utterly a different person while he's making fun of it. That's what I'm doing to you. I don't have to treat you any fucking way, little bitch. That's the mentality of it. With all of them. Which is criminal, and I'm trying to get the help. Columbus, Ohio is corrupt. The contacts I made with Columbus, Ohio ain't worth a shit. Me being told it doesn't exist when I've already had it persecuted in other states and other people stand to it that it's illegal. So, Columbus, Ohio must be some real filthy ass shit. But anyhow, explanation for this video, very severe dreaming, me going to record the dreaming, me going in and profiling evidence and putting in what I understood from the dream, the associations from it, and how they utilized it. Next thing you know, I had cam server error. And that was it. Now, what I was going to say, electronic jamming interference, besides data theft, burning out electronics, and DVRs with evidence on it, while Janara and Thomas are also utilizing, they're intentionally utilizing, well, if you ain't gonna catch us either, because if you tell on whoever else you got the evidence on, means we ain't doing our job, and you're not gonna do that. I've been threatened by Carl Newman verbally standing across the street. I know what you're into, I know what you're reading, and I know what you're doing. You're not gonna go tell nobody, is exactly his words, and that was shit like 6-7 years ago, on top of everything else compiled prior to that too. It's too hard to explain right now, but no matter what, somebody to tell you you're not going to go tell nobody is a bad situation. Even if they're law enforcement, that's the end of this shit. I don't give a shit. Being threatened, I can't make my own evidence. I can't do what I need to produce to get help. Once again, and even the help that I do get, like internal affairs, I go to report to internal affairs, I'm being told all kinds of shit. I'm schizo, I'm out of hand, all the rest. And this internal affairs, just like Colorado Springs, and these guys are associated from out there too. That's why I'm saying interstate stalking. And it's the type of people that cause the mishap, cause the situation, and utilize the power and physical power that they're owning and owning the system. But anyhow, internal affairs, with the complaints that I made to multitudes of different peoples, internal affairs, it wasn't just because of me, somebody else did it. A bunch of other people was convicted of doing exactly what I said, throwing away shit, not reporting the shit. So when you call back, they never put the report in. So you don't have any evidence that you even tried to go get help, which makes you look unstable. Threatening people. And it's not just Colorado Springs. This is, you can watch these audit videos. And people, you can see some of these agencies in certain places just threaten people outright. I need this, I need that, or you can't do this, or else I'm going to criminally charge you for not doing nothing more than just trying to put in a complaint. But anyhow, them being connected to that shit. And that's how Columbus, Ohio has been running. I'm not saying fully, but almost fully. With that being said, kind of strange. I put evidence on a camera, and camera server error pops up. And I'm over here in little micro voicings, but it's all, it is characteristicized as knowing who it is, just like a second ago. Something at least close to Carl Newman and whatnot. Hey, little buddy, trying to make it out. You're the whack job. The neighborhood knows this, and we're enforcing against you. We'll utilize illegal force, and on top, just because we triggered, and that's what was talked at mental health, triggerings, what they're trying to trigger can be illegal. Triggering you to make yourself worse off than what your situation is and utilizing it against you illegally, sabotaging you, sabotaging life, sabotaging social life being talked by mental health authorities of being good enough to be life-threatening situations. No different than someone aiming a gun at you, telling you they're taking your life, taking your social life, not allowing you to be able to have any enjoyment, quality of life, or anything else. Carl Newman, Janara Torres, Thomas Stuckman, Ella Purdue. All also not only just saying, you know, this is the neighborhood. I've been interstate even 20 years ago, outside the state with me traveling, and and that's why I say they intentionally corrupted the last video, because they're in fear of getting busted. And being capacity with law enforcement, probably get double time for what they've done wrong, because now you've also dishonored your oath to the United States and what you've sworn to uphold and abide by. Hey, I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to thrill myself on that. It's already happened in my past of me being directly connected to law enforcement, being arrested by law enforcement for misconducted acts. I don't have proof of paperwork for it. And that's another thing that's keep being belittled. You ain't got no proof. I bet you go back over top of Colorado's arrest between, say, 2005 to middle of 2006 at the most. Into 2005. Say June 2005 to April of 2006. Officers being arrested. The internal affairs situation may have happened after that a little bit, but that means the whole works. If you try to travel with the timeline that I'm given, it was all being built up. Internal systematical shit, but the arrest, that's my proof. Anyways, I rambled on that of how I feel it should be able, hey, somebody else is utilizing pressure. I can tell you where you lived when your mom's grandma lived back in whatever day, but I can't tell you or help you out or orchestrate any power on your benefit of supporting or stabilizing your life, even though we're claiming you're unstable, intentionally triggering it and utilizing it against you. That's illegal. At least as far as what I was told by mental health that works for the county representative for Franklin County here, Columbus, Ohio. Misconduction at the least. Anyhow, I'm going to end this video, targetofunlawfulacts.com. Hopefully this video ends right, 26 minutes. Other devices, other cameras have went through this. I've had not even cell phones. Professional, like a Sony Nex 3 camera, having problems. Interfered with. They don't want me collecting evidence. No different than me telling you verbally. I've been told by all of them, I'm not going to be able to go tell nobody. You're not going to tell nobody. Even if you try, we have connections on the inside. And what happens, we've already set you up to the point the system won't react to you correctly. And you'll put yourself at jeopardy of losing your freedom and being scorned and scolded of being psychologically unstable. What a fucked up situation. I have no friends. I have no contacts here. So that's the way that is. And hey, that's mental health. We have a right to intervene, make intervention, community intervention, whatever we can utilize. Cartel business, human trafficking tactic of controlling and enslaving another human. Taking away another human's ability to live their life freely for themselves independently. Having somebody deal, and I'll deal with your affairs for you. That's my power. That's our power. That's our people. Ending this video, and that's that. Peace.